In a world where law and crime face each other in an eternal game of chess, moments that change destinies forever, today we enter the dark corridors of justice and revenge, where sentences become eternal. Get ready to witness the reaction of some of the biggest drug lords upon learning that will spend the rest of their lives chasing bars or face the dreaded corridor from the death. Antonio Francisco Bonfim Lopes, also known as Nem the Roquinha era, a Brazilian drug trafficker and former drug boss in the Roquinha favela located in Rio de Janeiro. Its trajectory was linked to crime organized in Brazil, specifically in drug trafficking. Not even Roquinha won notoriety due to his involvement in criminal activities in the community and his leadership in drug trafficking in Roquinha. He was arrested in November 2011 during a major operation. Police officer at Roquinha: man, he's in prison. He lost his player. Okay, good. Okay. No, does not close the integrity he gave into his integrity for filming Meo films. Crazy people, please don't use it anymore. No one. His arrest was a milestone in operations to combat drug trafficking drugs in Rio de Janeiro. It was close to midnight when police officers were magazines in access to the community of Roquinha. A black Corolla was coming down the hill. Inside apparently 3 men. Police said that at the time of the approach, one of the crew, if identified as the Congo consul, another as a consulate employee, and the third party as a lawyer. They didn't want to open the trunk, and they would have said that only would do this at the federal police headquarters about 10 kilometers after leaving Roquinha in Lago Rodrigo de Freitas. The 3 men, according to police officers, robbed and offered R30,000 to continue the journey, R20,000, then R30,000 only. We have our honor here. Trapped a car looks powerful in a very high risk area, understand? He was approached because of this, offered money, first offered 20, then 1 million, and we don't accept it. We called the federal police because it was of a con identifying himself as a con, present a license, and the car was searched and he was inside the trunk. Offers resistance, nothing like proud love my corporation. According to the information in the car, there was no weapons, just a suitcase with money. Police cars made the arrest of no war operation. A big van was headed to take the most wanted drug dealer in Rio until headquarters of the federal police in the zone. Upon arrival, there was a honk at the port of the police, and celebration, wearing a blue shirt and black pants, wasn't even removed from the van and surrounded by police officers. Antonio's illegal reign. Francisco Bonfim Lopes reached the end. Before his arrest, he was a figure prominent in the world of known crime for commanding the sale of drugs in Roquinha and for its influence in the region. Neither the Roquinha was sentenced to a sentence 96 years in prison for a series of crimes related to drug trafficking. Association for trafficking and others crimes. This conviction was the result and charges against him in addition to drug trafficking drugs. Neither the Rokinha was accused of involvement in homicides and others trafficking related crimes in 2013, nor does he say that he feels harmed. During a statement from you, I would already respond for the same facts in the same period, and in that process I feel harmed because the lawyer did not have access to the defense interview. Take my word from him and protest for new. Testimonial. Your last update was 2018 when he didn't even talk to the El Portal country in Porto Velho prison. To this day they ask my mother when I'll be back. Play there as if on the day when I get out of prison, I'll go back to drug trafficking. Hypothesis is promptly discarded. I want nothing more to do with this. I want to stay with my children, can go to the beach, to the theater, enjoy life. Today there are few available information about the situation current by Antonio Francisco Bonfim Lopes. The latest public information available indicated that he was serving time in the federal prison of Porto Velho located in the state of Rondônia in Brazil. While Nem the Rokinha is known for his leadership in trafficking in Rokinha, Chris Young faced challenges since childhood that led him to this story. Young was 21 years old, was drunk and under the influence of drugs when he fatally shot the store owner Hazem Patel during a bad robbery. Succeeded in 2004. He repeatedly expressed remorse for the shooting and how his lawyers described in a recent petition for clemency. The Freedom Board parole spent his time in the Hall of Death and helping young people avoid mistakes he made. He also prevented an attack by an inmate on a guard, prevented a suicide and eased racial tensions on death row. Former member of a violent gang, Young assured that there was no intending to kill RM Patel. A camera security recorded the murder. You know, that day I took that man's life, I took the life of Hash. Was trying to kill Hash. Circumstances, it simply went wrong, and I wish until today never having entered that store. So I really wanted me sorry for doing this. I lost a father when it was young, and I understand what it's like to lose a dad, and it's all my fault. I didn't get a chance to apologize to my family also, because although I thought that was being protective of them, I really hurt them. I also apologize for making them go through this stress. I hope they can appreciate what I am now. Mitch Patel, son of the victim, ran a campaign to ask the governor of Texas to forgive Young, father of 3. He told reporters that he believed that Mr. Young felt remorse for having killed his father. Mr. Young's lawyers filed a lawsuit in federal court defying the junta's rejection on the grounds that it was rooted in prejudice, racially motivated, citing his recent decision to grant clemency to a white man who also expressed genuine remorse and whose execution was contested by the family of the victim. Despite all requests came back, and he was sentenced to execution by injection in Texas. In his final statement released by Young, state officials said, I see death row as saving my life. I don't think I would have been able to explain to my daughters what meaning of life like her appreciation, because I had no appreciation for life. Chris described his life journey since his tumultuous childhood. He faced a childhood marked by the absence of parents and extreme poverty, aggravated by his Mother's substance abuse leaving them without water or electricity until the tragedy of losing your brother. Faced with these adversities, Chris got involved in drug trafficking and gangs during his adolescence and was arrested twice for minor offenses, being labeled as a criminal before the federal law. He also mentioned actions altruists like taking care of your child deceased brother and help children from neighborhood to have good grades. Chris passed due to family difficulties and problems with the criminal justice system. While this case demonstrates the lack of emotion and coldness of this criminal, Pedro Espinosa will be sentenced to death within prison walls, California state in San Jose. Without emotion. This is usually the expression facial from 18th Street members, also known as C18 or simply 18 in North America, when they receive their court sentence. In this case, the video you just see shows the face of Pedro Espinosa, a member of the aforementioned gang that killed a high school athlete for carrying a red backpack. Victim Jamil Andre Shaw was a third-year student at Los Angeles High School. He played basketball, baseball, played the piano and ran athletics. He was a prodigy with a bright future ahead, with your parents, especially his mother Anita Shaw, guiding you every step of the way in this. At the same time, his mother was fulfilling his second tour in Iraq at the time of his death. The murderer Pedro Espinosa had been born in 1989 and was an illegal immigrant in the United States. However, he had already had his first encounter with the law in 2007 when he was arrested for carrying a weapon and assault on a police officer. But most mistake made was that Espinosa received a 4-month early release from arrest on the 1st of March, 2008. Although the police department knowing he was an illegal immigrant. I know this seems crazy and strange and gets worse. At 8:40 on the 2nd of March, 2008, 2 Hispanic men jumped from a white car, confronted Shaw, and they asked him what gang he belonged to. One of the men was Pedro Espinosa Shaw. Still young, he was on his way home coming from the Beverly Center, literally 3 blocks away. They asked about the gang he joined belonged because they saw that he was carrying a Spider-Man mock and assumed that he was a member of the rival Bloods gang associated with the color red. Shaw, stunned with this confrontation, he was unable to speak, and his father was shot at the scene, heard the shot from inside the house and called to alert about the situation in the area. And yet how could he know that his own son was the victim when Shaw didn't answer the phone? The father ran to outside and found him being beside him until 4 medical teams to arrive. Shaw was taken to the hospital where he was declared dead at 9:55. As for Espinosa, this was just his first day out of prison. Then it didn't take long for him to go recaptured and charged with murder in first degree. After 4 years of legal proceedings, Espinosa was sentenced to the death penalty on the 23rd of May, 2012. Member of a criminal gang street, and the murder was committed to promote the activities of this criminal. The defendant Pedro Espinosa will be sentenced to death within the walls of the California State Prison in San Jose in the manner provided for by law on the date to be established by this court in a writ of execution until 1980. A staggering 70% of all cocaine who entered the United States was sliding down the sunny streets of South Florida. But believe me, that wasn't just an ordinary sunny scene. Was crime, causes and adventure that would leave your head spinning. Hold on, because this wild wave of madness brought some unexpected crime souvenirs, shot, turning them into a battlefield full of crimes. Homicide rates have tripled and streets echoed with the shock of violence drug-related. This is where the story focuses on the small but powerful Griselda Blanco. Imagine a woman just 1.5 m tall but possessing the fierce energy of a lion roaring. She wasn't just any lioness but a drug dealer, and she wasn't just a drug dealer but a figure in the Colombia's Medellin cartel during the wild 70s and 80s. Believe it or no, Griselda's story begins modest form literally, but life her took a turn when she met her second husband Alberto Angry, who opened the doors to the world of illegal substances. From that point there was no return. Griselda dove from head in the cartel world, orchestrating the movement of cocaine from Colombia to United States. Its playgrounds were New York, Southern California, and of course Miami. The action moved to New York, and my god, things got hot. Imagine a city dominated by operations, drugs controlled by the mafia. But guess who came marching? Griselda Blanco and Alberto Bravo were ready to steal the show, and that was exactly which they did by grabbing a large slice of the drug market. However, in shadows the authorities were planning your movements, and Operations Bunch came into action, intercepting an impressive load of 150 kilograms. Griselda Blanco was in their sights, but she managed to disappear by escaping from back to Colombia before they could arrest her. A few years later she returned, transforming Miami into his battlefield. Now let's talk about Griselda Blanco's power plays. Known as the godmother of drugs, she commanded a network that generated $80 million per month, and pioneering tactics smuggling faced rival lords of drugs and was involved in hundreds of murders. In 1984 she fled to California but faced justice in 1985 and was sent back to Miami to face murder charges. She pleaded guilty to 3 counts and served a 10-year sentence in 2004, returned to Colombia but was tragically murdered in 2012, leaving a legacy: long-lasting crime and trafficking. And that's how it is that we have reached the end of a story. Cocaine impregnated Miami, led by indomitable Griselda Blanco.